touch my toes and then do a couple wiggles and waggles, and then well, I warmed up. I'm good to go. It's not anything. You might as well have just got out of bed. I have it in my notes. My top 10 extremely high ROI golf exercises. I run into a lot of people as early as 40 years old who will tell me that it's too late. You're going dead straight all the time, and then your two sports that you like to play are pickleball and golf. Do the math. Mark was talking about how golf fitness as a whole is rather new. It's I'd say in the mid 2000s, Rose and Phillips were TPI, the leaders there. They kind of innovated the whole thing and got it all going with the tech and the movements and the correct way to go about it. And then you had a lot of guys who were doing level 1 screenings and level 1 TPI certifications, and they would just take that level 1 and they would just go out and be certified golf fitness professionals. And all that level 1, I remember I did it in 2016. All the level 1 did was just teach you how to screen for physical characteristics of what may affect your golf swing. So it didn't teach you how to fix it, essentially, just to tell you how to identify it. So along with NASM or any other personal training certifications, you still got to be a nerd for this stuff. You still have to dive in and figure out how to coach, because there's different styles of coaching. There's a few ways to go about different types of bodies. If you go to a football practice, all the O linemen are going to look the same. All the quarterbacks are going to look very similar. All the wide receivers are going to look very, very similar. In golf, it's a hodgepodge. It's a crapshoot. You get all different types of bodies. And now we're starting to see it funnel into mostly athletic, maybe a lanky guy here or there, very few bigger guys. Basically what I'm getting at is there is a right way to do it. Now, it could be specific to you or not, or just kind of generalized. That's fine, as long as it's something. But it's starting to become, or it's going to, if it hasn't already. I might be a little too sheltered to know this, but it's getting to a place where if you don't warm up, let's say activate correctly, you are way behind the 8 ball between other people. Who are doing that correctly. Again, correctly being the key word. If you're just stretching, I touch my toes and then do a couple wiggles and waggles, and then well, I warmed up. I'm good to go. It's not anything. You might as well have just got out of bed.
Yeah, and I think too, one of the things that, it's funny that you brought up NASM and and the TPI certifications. I work with CS guys with their CSCS, and full up strength and conditioning coach is one of the guys on the staff here at the base, and he was like, you'd be surprised at how many people can't even do a proper needs analysis of just being able to break down the movements properly of what exactly is needed here. And then can you layer on the component of oh, by the way, you still have, you can't just be fit for golf, you have to be able to be fit to do anything, right? And so it's I remember there was a stretch where I was doing I got a program from one of the strength coaches, and it was we have a general movement block, and then we have a golf specific movement block.
My original marketing for golf fitness was just comparing it to quality of life. If you didn't want to warm up for golf, or you didn't want to activate or work or fitness wise, I hate the word golf fitness. I'm always trying to find different words. I think golf fitness is such a dumb word. It's just all it is just technically there's no such thing as golf fitness. There's just working out with the intention to train for golf.
Right.
It's not a specific type of exercise that you can't do for anything else. Right. It's all just I always describe it as you want to mobilize one part of the body while the other part is stable. So if say I'm doing a split stance where my legs are totally locked in place, I'm really trying to use my core to stabilize, and I'm just opening or rowing or something like that. My upper body is then getting resistance to rotate, and my lower body is trying to remain stable. And in essence, that is a golf swing. Right. So I'm training for the sport I'm trying to play. I think I mentioned when we were playing, all the people that I screen for assessments, they'll always talk about, I'm like, what's your fitness regimen now? What do you do? Jog, bike, run, swim. I'm like, okay, you want to know what's similar about all those things? They're like, what? It's one direction. You're going dead straight all the time, and then your two sports that you like to play are pickleball and golf. Do the math. You're gonna get hurt. You're just gonna get hurt. You're gonna find out, unfortunately, that like something's gonna click, and I hear it all the time. I finally fell playing pickleball the other day. I swing and I just can't stop myself. I'm like going in the momentum of the swing, which is lateral, because
Yeah.
you don't know how to put on the brakes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
but you
if you
could
want to
probably
do
stop.
things, and that's the whole thing, like if you want to do things at a consistent level, you have to be able to, your body has to be able to operate in that space for an extended period of time, right? Like
Endurance.
it's not like a golf round is like an hour range session where you're like, oh yeah, I feel pretty good. Like, no, you got to be doing things for, 3, 4 hours, and you have to be able to have the muscular endurance to be able to do that powerful movement over and over
Over and
and
over and
over.
over and over. And especially if you're walking, I always just I
Exactly.
tell people as well for the endurance piece, because cardio is a piece of it. Cardio will always be at least one or 2 days in my programs, and people don't like the cardio. They really don't like the cardio because I do it at high intensity for like 1 or 2 days,
Yeah.
and I always explain it like this. Well, at your current rate, let me put you on a treadmill at 6 incline, walking 2.5 to 3.5, and I'm going to give you a 6 pack. And you got to do it for 4 hours. You get a 6 pack of beer at 6 incline, let's say three on the treadmill, miles per hour, and you got to finish that 6 pack, and you get 4 hours to do it. Like you're going to do it, but it's going to suck. That's a round of golf for most people.
Yep.
Let me throw a hot dog in there. Like it's not, you're not going to feel good.
Yeah.
You're not going
Yeah,
to feel good.
absolutely.
And now add decision making into it.
Mhm.
I mean, a decision like you're just on this treadmill, you're walking, and yeah, you're gonna get to the end. 4 hours is really gonna suck. We'll call it 3.5. But now I gotta like say like I put a game in front of you and you gotta like solve a crossword puzzle. Like by hour two, that's gonna be a much harder crossword puzzle than the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. And it's like, are you feeling properly? Are you going through and, you throw the psychological component on top of that of like,
Yep.
you have a certain amount of thoughts and emotions showing up shot to shot, and then you've got to be able to exercise the attentional skills to be able to do all of that. And it's like, I think it's so funny how often, like, you talk to like non-golfers, and golf is just like it's this thing that you do to go out there, get drunk, and go have a good time. And then it's like, no, you go out there and you actually play, and especially if you walk, you're like, oh, this is a full up workout. And I remember there was one summer when I was living down in Georgia. Me and my buddy, we just walked and we carried every round that we played.
Mm-hmm.
I can't
Yep.
tell you how good of shape we were in, and it was so funny going through that progression of constantly doing it. And really it didn't feel like it because we were out there having a good time, but the amount of work that went into doing something like that, it's um I think people are starting to see the realities of playing golf if you want to play
Yeah.
it well and you want to do it at a higher level, as opposed to
Yeah.
just
No.
going out there as an excuse to drink.
100%. And thankfully that you're younger and you could flip a switch on a dime and say, okay, I want my fitness to be about golf now. I run
Yeah.
into a lot of people as early as 40 years old who will tell me that it's too late. And that's obviously that's a mentality. I let them know right away like that. I've had guys at 70 turn it around,
Yeah.
and and that's with multiple back surgeries. That's with rotator cuff surgeries, knee replacements. It's not that they can turn around and become Scotty Scheffler, but you can
Mhm.
turn it around and improve your quality of life and quality of the game that you're playing by far, no
Yeah.
doubt, no doubt. Now it's not going to take 6 years, but it's also not going to take 3 months.
Right.
You're looking at a time frame depending on what you're coming off of. If you have injuries or any pre-existing health conditions, you're looking at a time frame of like a year,
Yeah. Yeah.
roughly. To be fair, some guys would
Yeah.
take 6 to 8 months, other guys would be maybe 2 years, but that's pretty much the time frame. If you were consistent 3 to 4 days a week, train
Mhm.
like if you're already working out, that's where I meet people where they're at. If you're already working out, you have some sort of routine. You just mix in golf specific movements, a little bit of yoga.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah.
all it's all mobility. And then I had a guy ask me one time, well, what's mobility? What is that? You keep saying that word. What's the definition of mobility? And I'm like, realistically, like I don't want to define mobility, but I'm just going to say movement, like moving
Yeah.
the way your body's intended to move. So my shoulder moves 360, right? So when I pull it over and cross stretch it, that's not stretching my shoulder.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not doing anything.
Right.
I mean, that's a cool down, but my I need to move it the way it's designed to be moved. My neck 360, my
Mhm.
wrists 360, ankles 360. Like nobody's activating their joints and muscles the way they're supposed to be moved or warmed up, and that's the key. And they're just cold.
Yeah.
They're just cold and tight.
So let me ask you this, right?
Mhm.
We're talking about like movement patterns. We're talking about like different exercises to throw in. Like, what would be based off of like experience level? We'll say like untrained, moderately trained, highly trained. What would be three exercises that you could throw into a routine that would
Mm.
be able to help hit on some of that mobility and stability components
I had a
you're
feeling the
talking
question was going to go that way, so I pulled
about?
up a list of 10. My I have it in my notes. My top 10 extremely high ROI golf exercises.
Love it.
My stepdad asked me that one time because he's a former kind of strong man and stiff as a board.
Oh,
But now
you're
he's
not
all into
kidding.
golf. Now he
Yeah.
loves golf and
Yeah.
he's getting much better. I'd say he's gone from like no score to like low 90s,
That's
solid
amazing.
in a couple
Yeah.
of years. And he's getting there. So top 10 extremely high ROI. Let's start with easy, right? Easy plank. A plank.
Mhm.
If you are not doing planks or if you think you're doing planks, include planks that involves more stability than just being on the ground. So yoga ball, Bosu ball, whatever your capability, any sort of plank will strengthen your core. Anything that involves multi-directional lunge is probably one of
Okay.
my personal favorites. Lateral lunges, backwards, forwards, like move in different planes of motion.
Mhm.
I would say anything that involves jumping. Now that one's a little more advanced because
Mhm.
in my mind I always think about like the 55-plus-year-old who has no business jumping. Right. But then, younger guys
Yeah.
don't typically jump.
No, no,
They,
it's hilarious. The guys in the gym here where on base where I work, every once in a while we'll get somebody who wants to do like more like plyometric type stuff.
yeah.
And I'm one of those guys included. Like when I don't know how to jump.
Hmm.
I always make the joke I wrestled in high school for a reason.
Yeah, stayed on the ground.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Well,
And
let me
so
ask you, do you know how to do a jumping jack?
yes, I do.
That's jumping.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Now the more complex ones would be like, say, a trap bar.
Mhm.
Like I'll get in a trap. You can get in a trap bar, do a squat, and then release the weight, and then jump onto a box.
Yeah,
Like that. That's one of the more complicated, multifaceted, compound movement. But just jumping up and down for 30 seconds at just low height,
yeah.
like just learning what it feels like to hit the ground and move up. I'll do two more. Let's say anything with that involves your hips. Like you got to open that area up,
Yeah.
and that helps a lot of people's back pain, and it helps a lot of people's knee pain.
Yeah.
Knee a little less. Knee is more ankle issue, but I would say lower back pain. I'm going to go as far as to say 6.5, 7 times out of 10 is coming from your hips.
You even think about it from like even just like a running perspective. Like, the amount of times that I go run and nine times out of 10, any pain that I feel is because my hips suck.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then so how would you pair something like that up with like a pre-round warm up?
So I actually devise or create a bunch of different warm ups based on things I've seen in the field.
Hmm.
It's a really good question, but say I've run into so many different complaints and excuses. It's like, I'm not getting on the ground. Okay, I can get you a 5 minute warm up where you don't get on the ground. You're just standing up.
Yeah.
I got a 10-minute warm up or a 5 minute warm up if somebody's coming in on two wheels and they need to go straight to the tee box, right?
Yeah.
You got to have something. If you're at home and you're totally prepared and you got 15-20 minutes, that's a whole different other type of warm up. So I would say that it depends on if somebody's willing to get on the ground or not, if that's
Yeah.
easier for them. A standing one, anything that involves a wide stance. I really enjoy going into a wide stance where your lower body is basically locked in place. Anything that's really thin, your hips are much more likely to move.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to keep the hip movement to only rotational, not lateral.
Hmm.
You'll always see people trying to gain power by moving way more that way and then way this way. Right? That's just moving your center of mass. Yeah, that's an issue. So anything with a wide stance, add a little rotation into it,
Yeah.
and anything that helps you put on the brakes. So even a little lateral lunge. Lateral lunge is easy. If I was going to get one more, I'd just say those pogo hops or jumping jacks.
Yeah.
Those are great activation exercises there. If you did all three of those, it would take you no more than 5 minutes, and you'd feel. The problem is no one wants to feel like they're sweating, but you'd feel like a little warm, right?
Yeah. You should.
Might cause you to take a long sleeve off.
Yeah.
but then you know you're good. Like
Right.
that'd be your indicator. Your temps up.
Yeah. Now,
That's
do
it.
you think that there's things that people should be doing throughout the round as well?
That's your best. Your best bet is when it's ice cold. You're not feeling any pain to activate it correctly before you just force.
Right.
During a round of golf, I like to stretch out my obliques. I think
Hmm.
personally for me, it's like my sides. You know, if you're the type to have early extension and you swing and you get vertical, a lot of the time that's going to present in lower left if you're a righty,
Hmm.
and that's like right above the glute. So
Yeah.
while you're in the cart, you could cross one leg over the other and just get a good hip stretch, things like that. If you feel any sort of tightness, not pain, pain you got to be done. But tightness, yeah, I would say short answer yes. Stretch where you're feeling it.
Okay. Yeah. I
Unfortunately,
like, and I think that the more that you can make the fitness side like accessible, it'd be great to say, yeah, go to the gym, 5 days a week or 4 days a week.
tough.
Uh,
It's tough for a lot of people. Yep. Stretching is after. We'll call it static stretching is what I call it. Dynamic warm up, dynamic activation is pre-round.
yeah.
Movement. You'd be better off taking a 15-minute walk around the parking lot than you would trying to touch your toes for 3 minutes. 100%.
It's the best. That's everybody's favorite stretch. Can I touch my toes?
Just touch your toes, and it's really the like the high club back extension stretch that gets it for me. I'm
And
like,
then you get a little bit of like, yep, we rotate
yeah,
just a little
yeah,
bit. We're
just a
good.
little left, little right, and people will watch this and go, "God, I feel seen." Like you calling me out right now. They're like, but that's the thing. You're at the
Good.
range, and that's all you see, and you don't want to
Yeah.
embarrass yourself. It's very embarrassing to feel like you don't know what you're doing. It's like this. It's very similar to want to do a stretch that you know you can do or know you should do for golf or an activation move. It's very similar to shanking a golf ball if you don't do it correctly or don't know what you're doing. Or say you activate, same as like pulling out a tripod or camera to film yourself because you want to have better practice sessions, but you shank a bunch and you don't hit it well right now. That's embarrassing. You feel it makes it look like that you are better than you are, but you're just trying to get better.
Yeah.
That's a huge piece. That's a huge piece. I wrote a couple blogs about that. Like don't worry about what other people's journey is. Like do what you need to do to get better, and that will involve warm-ups, that will involve filming yourself, self-diagnosis and self-assessment, and figuring out where you went wrong and what the swing actually looks like, feel versus real, all
Yeah.
those things, all that's included.
Yeah. Well, and then the big question is too, it's like within your pursuit of essentially we're talking about becoming more competent, right? Are you willing to be derailed by worry, by fear, by,
Embarrassment.
judgment from other people? Right. And that kind of goes back to a little bit of what we talked about last week, just like, hey, like, what's the thing that you have to go and do? Like, what's the most important thing to go do? Like, cool, people might judge you. Like,
Mm-hmm.
people are going to judge you if you're wearing a certain colored shirt?
Yeah, sure.
Is this about like people not judging you, or is this about like you going to be healthy? Because going and doing a warm up is going to get you closer to health for sure. You might
100%.
you might feel like an idiot. You might even look silly while you're doing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But well, again, why are we here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
what's the
No,
deeper
there
motive?
have been times where I've taken a whole resistance band or two out of my bag and strapped it to the golf cart and got a stretch in.
Yeah,
But like, and people look at me like I either discovered fire or should burn myself alive.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what are you doing, you hardo? Like, why are you?
There it is. Yeah. Have I been a person to think that before? Yeah, totally.
Sure,
But then,
I'm in better shape though. I'm
yeah,
confident.
exactly. Exactly. Right. And that's the whole thing, right? Is, ultimately, and, I think about like a lot of like what we're doing with this podcast, right? It's not about looking cool. Dude, silly stuff works. And you're I go back to that all the time is like, it's so funny how the stuff that we feel the dumbest or the stupidest, doing, it's like, this is the stuff that works and everybody knows that it works, but we don't have it. I don't know if it's the humility, but we don't have the capacity to be around that discomfort to go and do it. Right. It's like we're so focused on like, well, what's the third guy down on the range going to think of me? And we don't even know who he is.
Yep.
Right. And so, like, really, when you break it down, like, the silly thing is not doing that thing that's important,
Hmm.
as opposed to doing the thing that makes you just a little bit uncomfortable, but it's going to set you up for the next 4 hours when you're out there.
Yep. Yeah. And a good example of that is like everyone's willing to bust out the training aid. Everyone knows that that's like an acceptable driving range
Yeah.
tool. Like you have whatever training aid you had, people will stare at you for that, but you feel much more confident because you know you're trying to get better, even if you mess up. But if you broke out the tripod for that, that's like a whole different game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I need to film myself using this training aid and see how it compares to my current swing without it, but I don't have the balls to film it because it makes me feel like
Exactly.
I'm like professional.
Yeah.
But I'm just trying to get back. You need to understand what feel versus real is, and
Yeah.
the training aids there to help you. Whatever it is helping you feel a certain movement that you want to make to get better contact, and then you take it away. I call it training wheel. You take the training wheel away, and then you have to fail over and over again to figure out what the feel was and what real actually is, and what your body is able to do. And that's another huge piece. Is like, what is your body even able to do? If I have this training aid and it gets me in that position, but then I take it away and my body physically can't do that without it, you just wasted a whole bunch of money
Yeah.
with
Well,
whatever it is.
so let me ask you this, right? Like as you're talking about this, a couple things pop up in my mind, right? So we're talking about like the discomfort of doing something silly, right? Would you say that it's more of that discomfort that people are trying to avoid, or could it be a lack of want of the accountability component, right? Of like, well, if I film it, now it's real, and I'm getting that feedback that says that I'm not like I'm nowhere near where I want to be.
I think it's the first one. I don't
Okay.
think it's the second one. I don't think
Yeah.
it's the second. I think people would. I think people would do it, and they don't care what their swing really looks like. But I always ask people, have you seen your swing in slow motion before, or have you seen your swing played back before? And 95% of the time, it's no.
Yeah.
So nobody's filming themselves,
Yeah.
and that's huge, right? When you go to a coach, I don't care what sport you play, you go to a coach, you should be getting video feedback.
Mhm.
So why wouldn't I be doing that on my own? One, because probably don't know what to look for.
Right.
But two, if you're trying something specific, you should be filming that.
Yeah.
If you're just swinging away, that's content. You're just trying to like I'm trying to get some video for myself, maybe whatever. I don't know what I'm looking for, but you could have before and afters at some point. But if I'm
Mhm.
trying something with a training aid, or if you're trying something specific you saw even in a tip, doesn't matter. You should be filming that, and people are not doing that. And I think that's you just trying to beat balls with the mental approach of trying to do something and it's not actually happening.
Yeah.
You're spinning wheel.
Yeah.
You're spinning wheel. So what was that first? What was the first part that you said? Second one was like accountability, and they didn't want to see their swing.
Well, the first one was, kind of the judgment that comes from doing something uncomfortable.
Yes,
And
it's
they're trying to
definitely that
push
one.
away that discomfort.
It's 100% that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
They are worried about what it will look like to bust out a camera and suck.
Yeah.
Right. And I went through it. I did it all the time when I was getting better, or when I was trying. I shot low hundreds too. I'm definitely shooting 70s now for the most part. My bad round will be like a low 80s.
Mhm.
And next year I'm going to really try to break 70 at some point, and I will be filming every practice session,
Yeah.
even shipping sessions, short game and things like that. Like I have to know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
And Mark Blackburn, actually, in that podcast I was talking about earlier, said something really unique, that like golf is very unique, but similar to other sports in that you can train all you freaking want. There will always be a in-game component where tendencies will show up,
Yeah.
and they can be physical, they can be mental, whatever the case. That's where we see a lot of range to course problems.
Like knowing what those tendencies are. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, like understanding what the feel versus real actually is.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you're at the range and you're feeling things and you hit a couple balls good and you're like, got it today, man, I got it. But then you're on an uneven lie. You have an actual number that you need to hit to. Got friends around, whatever the case. That's a whole different swing that's about to come out because it hasn't been tested,
Yeah.
and you don't know what it feels like really, and you don't know what it looks like.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the interesting part and kind of ties into a little bit of our conversation last week, right? Like, yes, it's the same, it's the same movement, right? But once you put yourself in in the context of being on the course,
Mm-hmm.
well, now the environment changes a little bit, and now there's more of those external factors that have to be taken into account. Not necessarily to say that like we have to change the whole golf swing, but now it's like you're talking about that uneven lie. Like, okay, what are the adjustments that I have to make? Like, yeah, you've got
Yep.
buddies who might be chirping you a little bit. Like, okay, can I recognize some of the judgment that's coming? Leave it alone, right? So I almost think that like being on the course is like that's the test, right? We
Mm-hmm.
can hit balls on the range all day long, but if you're not getting out there playing, you're not going to know how you're responding to those progressions that you're making. And
Yeah,
I'm assuming that's kind of the point that you're getting.
100%. And the best way to, the only way to do that at the range, in my opinion, is to be constantly aiming at something and switching clubs.
So what is that thing that you would be aiming, like when you say like aiming at
A
something, what do
flag,
you mean? Okay.
like an actual flag. Yeah, like you're aiming at a target
Hmm.
every single time you hit a ball at the range.
Yeah.
There's not, I mean, other than like a warm up with the wedges, maybe if there's nothing like short, but I always do. I always aim at something specific every time because
Yeah.
I'll understand my alignment and then constantly switching clubs. There should be no other than you're trying to figure something out. It really shouldn't go above 10 to 15 shots. If I'm really practicing for the game of golf, there has to be a sense of random because golf is random. I'm never hitting driver more than two times in a row, assuming you have to take a mulligan or a breakfast
Yeah.
ball, right?
Yeah.
I'm not there. I mean, there's working on something, but I really would limit it to 5 to 10 shots.
Hmm.
Absolute max. Like if I
Yeah.
have, say, I got 80 balls, I'm hitting 2 or 3 shots with a 7, 2 or 3 shots with a 9, 2 or 3 shots. I want to go from long club to short club like every time. It really
Yeah.
helps. You cannot just hit 9 9 irons and then go to your 8 or 7 and then hit 10 of those. Like
Mm.
you got to mix it up. That's why people go from driver to wedge and blade the shit out of a wedge.
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely.
100% why. I could
Yeah.
diagnose that in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Everyone's scared of the wedge shot because you hit 20 drivers and 2 wedges on the range.
Well, and you even think about just like kind of going back to warming up, like what exactly are you warming up? Yeah, you hit a bucket of balls. Do you go over to the putting green? Do you go over to so you can hit a couple of chips to get the feel for it?
Mm-hmm.
Again, I think it's like what's the comfortable thing?
It's
You
always
know?
it's always driver because it's a bigger face and it's on a tee. Like
Yeah.
it sucks to chunk.
And
That's
it's
another
sexy.
embarrassing piece.
When you're smoking drives on the driving range, like it's cool.
Yeah, it's
That's
cool
that's
as
the stuff
hell.
that everybody loves to see. And as we're talking about like some of the alignment stuff, one of the things that comes into mind is introducing like not so much from like a skill acquisition perspective, but more from like a value pursuit perspective of like when you show up to a range session, like what is it that you're trying to show up with value wise, right? So like for me, like if I'm coming in, let's say you're helping me fix that terrible backswing that I have, that inside backswing, right? Like, what am I showing up to that curious, right? That's something that I really care about is curiosity, right? And so as we're doing all of the things that you're talking about, like as I'm aiming at pins, as I'm, making that purposeful randomness, coming at things from the psychological perspective, like I think that's always a piece that's missing. Is yep, we can go hit balls, we can go pick targets, right? But like it's a random question, but it's always like, okay, but like why do that? Like, why is that important in the game, in the aspect of improving at golf, right? Like, it could be from a knowledge standpoint, it could be from a discipline standpoint, right? But like being able to put that thing that's beyond the flag and name that, that also might elevate some of the practice. Not necessarily, and like even from a standpoint of just like understanding that there's going to be discomfort that comes from it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So like taking that alignment piece like one layer further, might also increase the richness of that practice because when you go out on the course, like you're going to need that stuff. You're going to need to know what it is that you care about, like why the hell you're out there in the first place.
Answer that for yourself,
For me,
for example. Yeah.
yeah. So like golf for me really is like it's a curiosity game for
Mm-hmm.
me. Yes, scoring is really good. I enjoy scoring when it happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me, like what I found over the years, like I started playing golf. One because like my grandfather and my dad both enjoyed playing golf, but like once I found the field of sports psychology, like it's a sandbox for me in my own psychology, right? Of like how can I go start to practice some of the things that I preach. And so when I go out on the golf course, like yeah, sure, like if I'm scoring well, it's great. Like I'm riding that high, like I'm feeling all of the good feelings that come, but there's always that layer of curiosity, right? And so like if I pick I've got a whole bunch of things that I care about. We can kind of dive into that in another episode. But like I always just try and pick one, right? Like what am I trying to be today? Like it could be purposeful, it could be curious, it could be open, it could be mindful, right? And it just adds another layer to the physical side of it. And ultimately what it does is it just makes it exponentially more meaningful. Now it's not just around golf. Like when we played last week, right? Like, to be honest, I didn't even care about score, right? Like for me, it was about connection. Like, we've been on these calls for, for how long? And like, we get to go chill, have fun, whack some balls around and, I swear at myself a little bit, right? But like that day for me was about connection. Now I'm attuned, I'm aligned to making a connection.
You're an aligned athlete.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, right? And I think that's the big piece of the alignment part, right? Is like how can I attach the things that I do to who I want to be?
I very much care about the score.
And that's the whole thing, right? Like I'm not
Yeah,
saying at all like don't care about the score,
yeah.
right? Care about the score. That's cool, right? But what's beyond the score, right? Because then what happens is you fall back into a gate game of like my game is going to be great when I break 70. Then what's going to happen when you get to shooting in the 70s regularly? You're like, well, I'm going to try and break 70 now. What we're doing is we're putting the score, if you think about a mountain, right? Climbing a mountain, we're putting the score at the top. And then what we're saying is, well, I'm going to use my values, the things that matter most to me, to get me up to achieving my goal. I think it's backwards. We need to put the value at our core, what matters most to us, put that up at the top. And this is where the goals piece comes in. This is not Brendan saying like goals are terrible, don't set goals, right? But the goals are now just stepping stone.
So in service of the highest good for me would just be the peace and serenity, honestly, that I feel when I play golf or practice golf. It's always uh, that's the high point for me is presence. I always feel present when I'm playing golf.
Yeah, yeah,
But the stepping stones of like continually playing are as a result of the constant pursuit of a better game. So I put a number on it as like I want because I haven't done it yet. I want to break 70, but
yeah,
it's really the underlying reason is a constant pursuit of. But there's no finish line in this game. Like there's no finish line. So to your point, if you're chasing score, you're never going to get there. But I can always chase a number because there's
yeah.
infinite number. Like I could say, okay, I shoot, I shot 68 or 69, but my green and regulation, I want that percentage to be like 60%. Like,
Sure.
and it's at 40 or 50, right? So
Yeah,
I could just pivot to different
yeah,
numbers. But
yeah.
ultimately it's as a result of wanting to be, I just enjoy being present and continually pushing for something.
Exactly. Right. So now you trying to improve your greens and regulation, you improving your greens and regulation is helping you get closer to peace, serenity, presence, whatever it may
Yeah.
be.
Every time you practice it, that's
Exactly,
all.
right. And
Yeah.
and so now and this is why I love value pursuit over goal pursuit as like
Mhm.
what's going at the top is like what happens like the next round after you break 80 for the first time.
You try to do it again.
We're back to okay, well now what's the next lowest number that I can get?
Well, it's not even that. Like you may not do that again for quite some time,
True.
right? And then what? You're just like you beat yourself to death. Yeah, that's the peaked in high school, man. Like, like I know I
Perfect.
shot 78 before, but like
Yeah.
you shoot 90, then everybody you're like, no, 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 I'm way better than this. That's
Yeah.
you hear that all the time. Yeah, I'm way
Right.
better than this. I'm way better.
Because everything is put into the score.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. And so and again, this is not me saying like, no, you can't care about score. Like that's bullshit. Right. Like saying
Mhm.
to somebody who plays golf competitively, don't care about score, like it's never going to happen. Right. But what if you achieving that score, moving in the direction of shooting that score, can get you closer to something that you care about? And what you're going to find is that the score is, like you said, I think the way that you worded it was perfect. Like it's a barometer. The way that I see it is like, do you want to hang your hat on something that's fleeting? Hang your hat on something that's constant, that you can constantly pursue. Right? Everybody talks about the process. It's not about the process. It's not about the destination. It's about the journey. Right? But nobody really talks about like, okay, but how do you do that? That
Well, haven't you
direction.
watched Ashton Hall? You got to wake up at 4 a.m. You got to take an ice bath. You got to rub banana on your face.
Yeah.
It's like
No.
it's obvious. It's clearly on TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's on
You can
TikTok, it
find
must
the
be.
answers.
Yeah.
It's a good point because you're not going to continue anything that you're doing for the superficial piece of it, right? Like I saw it done, so I think it's going to work.